Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when
All right, as always, Dolphins number one, baby!
So fins up to all you guys. Thank you for doing
I just want everybody to remember, we may not always agree on everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we do agree on, is we are all Dolphin fans. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. How you doing tonight, Rob?
Hey, can't complain, man. Still thirsty for Dolphins information over at Dolphins Thirsty. So, hey, it's fun. Even coming off a loss, still a good time to be a Miami Dolphin fan. I'm looking forward to tonight's show with you, Steve, as always.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everybody, I appreciate you for joining us. That's in the chat tonight. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. And remember, we may not always agree everything Dolphins, but there's one thing we can agree on. We are all Dolphins. So, Rob, let's get this show on the road, man. We're coming off a loss. We lost to the Philadelphia Eagles 31-17, but we're still 5-2. So that's a good thing. We're still in the race. So, Rob, give me some insight. How did you feel about the game this past week?
Hold on, one. My phone's ringing again. Oh, these silly things, man. I forgot. Sorry, Steve.
That's
Hold
all right.
One second.
I understand. You're a busy man.
Yeah. I just forgot to turn down the ringer. And it says scam likely. Go figure. So hey.
I got you.
But
welcome,
anyway,
Frederick. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Frederick. What do I think? Yes, the Dolphins lost, but the good news is they're 5-2. They sit atop the AFC East, still in control of their own destiny after getting a little help from the New England Patriots, who we played this week. But this past week, New England helped us by beating the Buffalo Bills.
Yes,
so
they did.
We were able to maintain the one-game lead we have over them, even despite our loss to the Eagles on prime time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the end of the world. It's a non-conference loss. If you try to put a positive spin on it, of course you want to win every single game you go into, but it's not going to happen. We weren't going to go 16-1, and there were some things you can draw as a positive. Of course, there's always stuff you can draw out as a negative. But overall, it's a loss to a non-conference. The Bills lost to a division rival, so these are all good things for tiebreakers at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. We're 5-2. That's the good thing. Sure, there's always some critiquing we can do for our Miami Dolphins to improve or how we think they can improve. But tonight I wanted to first go over the defense. And I want to give my kudos, even though we did lose. I got to give kudos to the defense. They stepped up. They played a lot better than they have been playing. Bradley Chubb had a nice night. He had like 7 tackles and two sacks, and he had a bunch of pressures on.
I think he had the forced fumble, right? Didn't he?
Yes, he was in there on that forced fumble as well. So he had a lot of pressures on Jalen Hurts. David Long was playing well too until he got hurt with that collision between him and Javon Holland. Also, on the defense, Holland is in protocol. Javon Holland isn't in protocol because of that collision, even though to me it looked like David Long got the most of that hit, and he didn't even come back in the game. And Holland stayed in the game, but the next morning, he was complaining of some symptoms of some concussion symptoms, which is that he did the right thing.
No, of course.
It's gonna be a loss for us in that backfield, since we were hurting already with X and Ramsey and Needham. Although Nick Needham is coming back.
Yeah,
is coming back. I hope we get Needham back, and I do hope he's at 100%, because he is a really good piece back
Oh,
there in
because
the
there were
defense.
some whispers that he might not come back even after the 21 days.
Exactly. Good
So
point.
that was
Yes.
good to see when I saw he
Mhm.
was activated today. I said, "Hey, it's good to have him back.
Yep.
They have Ramsey back." I say don't rush Ramsey only if he's 100%
Yes.
ready to
I
go.
agree. I
No
agree.
reason to rush him. I believe me, I would love him to be ready by the Kansas City game, but if he's ready this week, of course, play him this week. But I'd say no reason to rush him. No reason
Hmm.
to rush him back against because it's a long season. You want him down there to
Hmm.
the playoff stretch.
Yeah.
So
And
let's
and
see
I
what happens.
and I agree. And I don't think we should rush X either. If we want both those guys healthy, 100% going down the stretch. So I definitely agree with you on that. Um,
Let me give some house clean here. Hey, Bobby,
Absolutely.
fins up, Bobby. Hooked up, Joe. Super duper having you here, and Adam and Frederick. You already got your hello, but hello. Oh, Scotty is in the house, and hello, Scotty, Mister. Let's see. Head injuries are so difficult to identify. Holland went back into the game, and he was one of the one actually hurt. Long was out of the game, but shows no symptoms in his practicing. Correct, Scotty. Anyway, Steve, you were in the middle of
Yep.
something. I see. I hate getting too behind. Let everyone knows a big fins
No,
up to the
no, no,
moment.
Rob. I appreciate it, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. That's why I got you here, man. not not
exactly.
not only that's not the only reason. The other
I was
reason
gonna
is
say because I could do the old flop and make
there you
myself number
go.
one here.
There you go. There you go. And I got you here because I love your takes. You've got a lot of great history, especially on your show, Dolphin Thirsty or Dolphins Chatter, and you have your blog dolphinsthirsty.com. And I did forget to ask you, what do you have going on in the Dolphins
Just anytime there's
blog this week?
Dolphins news, yesterday was the latest blog. I'm gonna throw more into this evening after our show. But anything
Mhm.
about the Miami Dolphins, like Nick Needham coming back and all that's gonna be up there. All
Good.
good things, Miami Dolphins trivia, Miami Dolphins, starting to put some of my own blogs on there, to have some of my own videos in there. I mean my own blogs, they call them nowadays.
Hmm.
So, some of that. So it's all fun, man. It's just all good Dolphin stuff and just having fun doing the stuff. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And bear with me, folks in the chat. Also, bear with me, Rob. I have an article, a really good article by Chris Perkins, who is a columnist. I'm having a problem speaking tonight. A
It's
columnist
all good.
for the Sun Centennial. And I thought it was a great article. And it's going to lead into what our show is about tonight, the main topic that is Miami, an optical illusion. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to take out and highlight what I think are most important parts of this article. So please bear with me. Let me put my glasses
No problem.
on. All right. All right. So he starts out in the article. Basically, he's saying that he wants to tell you the secret about the Miami Dolphins and more specifically the offense under our current coach, Mike McDaniel. And he believes in the article, he writes, the list of accomplishments is small. And it says under the McDaniel, the Dolphins are 14-11 with a 560 percentage, including the playoffs, with a minus 10 turnover margin. So 14-11. Everybody keep those stats in mind. The Dolphins have also been one of the league's most penalized teams under McDaniel. This year, they're tied for number 4 with 6.4 penalties per game. And last year, they were tied for second with 6.6 penalties per game. And that is one of the most things that I do not like about Mike McDaniel. He needs to correct that, especially coming into December and playing these playoff caliber teams. You cannot make penalties. You cannot make penalties or mistakes, and he needs to get that cleaned up. And then he says, uh, he says, in the brief plus one season of the McDaniel era, The Dolphins are 4-8 with a 3.33 percentage against teams that made the playoffs. Now that he's talking about in 2022,
Right.
and he was 9-3 with a 750 percentage against teams that didn't make the playoffs in 2022. And then he says, worse, the Dolphins are 2-7, 222 percentage, 222 on the road against teams that made the playoffs in 2022. And then he just was talking about Ryan Tannehill, Joe Philbin, Adam Gase, and a lot of those guys were belittled for their lack of success. Why? So I guess the question is, why are we not belittling Mike McDaniel? I disagree with doing that. I like Mike McDaniel. I think he's a great coach. And he does specify in this article, too, that he likes Mike McDaniel. He likes Tua. He likes Frank Smith. He likes Vic Fangio. He likes the locker room of the Miami Dolphins. So he's not bashing the team per se. He's just critiquing the facts here. And he says, here's what's going on. The Dolphins hammer the 500 and sub 500 teams and then lose to good teams with their trademark offense often sputtering under the bright lights of big games. And he says nobody wants to hear this, and that's what that he's saying, that this won't make him popular, but it needs to be emphasized. And I agree. He says none of this means the Dolphins are frauds. I agree. They are not frauds. Or that McDaniel's offense is a fraud. Totally agree. And we'll get into that a little later after this article. And it says, I don't believe either to be the case. Okay. Now he's talking about, but they need to show they belong with the big boys, which means they need to defeat the Super Bowl defending champions, Kansas City Chiefs, in Germany in 2 weeks. And then he says the offense needs to show up. He says the Dolphins celebrated offense averages 22.3 points per game against teams that made the playoffs in 2022. Of course, that's not the case thus far this year. And 29.1 points against teams that didn't make the playoffs in 2022. He says, yeah, I'm aware of the stats and analytics and the pre-snap motion and big plays and fun touchdown celebrations. I like all that stuff. Well, we all like all that stuff. He says, I also like McDaniel. He says, I truly do. As I mentioned, I like quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. I like general manager. He even likes general manager Chris Greer, which I don't. Says, says, offense coordinator Vic Fangio, this locker room, and he likes the team. But he says that's the honest truth he was saying. But he says, in fact, the Dolphins haven't done much against top-tier opponents. I know you're probably sick of hearing this from me, but it bears repeating. Look at Saturday's 31-17 loss at Philly. The Dolphins' high-flying offense scored one touchdown. One touchdown. He says this is part of a larger, more concerning pattern. The offense rarely does special things against quality teams. And he just goes on to say he mentioned this last year as well. He said the offense scored 20 points at Buffalo earlier this year. The offense scored 17 points at, I don't know why I brought this up, San Francisco last year. It also scored 17 at the Los Angeles Chargers last year, but he wants us to remember that those two touchdowns was he says those two touchdowns was a 57-yard fumble return by receiver Tyreek Hill.
Or does he at least mention that the Dolphins scored 36 on the Chargers this year, to be fair?
No, he didn't. Okay. That's to be fair.
I just wondering because I'm not reading the article.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I agree.
Yeah.
And then he says, so that was luck. It was not design. Then he goes on about last year, about Baltimore and blah, 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 which, everybody doesn't want to hear. But he says, I can't understand why this isn't a big deal. I can't understand why fans and other media turn a blind eye to this offense reality. They refuse to take an objective look at this offense, which I agree. Not all of us, but some of us do, I believe. Some fans I've seen have. He says if this offense is special, it'll outscore a quality opponent on the road and snatch a victory. He says the Dolphins scored 70 points against Denver, the big plays against Carolina and New York Giants, the gaudy offense numbers built on the backs of teams such as Houston, Chicago, and Cleveland, of course, in 2022. And he says, and there's always an excuse from fans and media, not the players and coaches, but he's saying, when things don't go well, Tua was injured, lots of starters were injured, the defense didn't give the offense a chance, the referees, it's always something. And he says the key here is that there is still games remaining, and he's correct. And I agree with that article, not everything, but most of what he said. And we do have Jalen Ramsey's coming back. We've got Needham coming back. X is coming back. A-Chain is coming back. So we have a lot of folks. Armstead will probably come back eventually here, maybe even in a Kansas City game. I think he'll be out of injured reserve then, right?
Yes.
I believe he will.
Who did you say? I'm sorry.
Armstead.
Yes,
Karen
because
Armstead.
now he's on the 4-game count and he's already had a couple. So yes, he should be coming back. Hey, Bearded Manny, thank you for donating to the channel.
Absolutely, thank you, Bearded Fanatic. Appreciate it.
Make sure you check out Battered Fins fans on YouTube, and Bobby will give you a big fins up there, Manny.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We appreciate that.
That was way before this Manny's time. But Manny,
we appreciate that.
And
folks that are coming in to the chat, please like, subscribe. Again, share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. Everybody that's in here in the chat right now, I appreciate you for joining us tonight. We couldn't do this without you.
All right, so now can I get my 2 minutes now, Steve?
Absolutely, that's what I wanted you to do. I wanted to get your insight.
I was thinking that
about this article.
Some of it's true. Okay, we haven't beaten a great team this year. Okay, that's fine, but that goes for a lot of the teams out there too. And that's not making an excuse. The fact is, we haven't beat a good team. The Buffalo, and if you want to say. But coming into the season, people said the Chargers were good. We beat them week 1. The Chargers made the playoffs last year.
No doubt.
Like us. So, it's just like, so yes. Do I want them to beat Kansas City? Of course. But let's beat New England this week. Then let's worry about Kansas City. But the fact is that for just as many people that want to make an excuse about Tua, if you want to call the Tua on people, there's 1,000 people that bash Tua for the, that other quarterbacks do. Like if, last night Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions in clutch time. If that would have been Tua, the narrative would have been, oh, Tua's horrible. Dolphins may not have their guy. So, it goes both ways. There's many people that love Tua, no matter what he does. There's some people that no matter what Tua does, they're going to bash him. So to me, that's a 2-way street that should be mentioned on that front. But I like Perkins. He seems like a pretty cool guy. He's always there at the thing. He's jovial. He's joking. One of the nice guys. But that article is to get clicks too. We have to remember that this day and age.
We're all after clicks, Rob.
Yeah,
we're all after clicks.
I'm not so much because I don't make money.
Yeah. But the bottom line is, but the bottom line is, I felt it was a fair article. Sure, I didn't agree with everything in there, and I mentioned some of the things I didn't agree with. But let's talk about Tua, because he's the leader of this team, and he's what makes this offense work. Believe it or not. And not only him, but it's a team effort. And I agree with Mike McDaniel when he was posed the question about, is Tua as a system quarterback or is it the scheme? Well, in my opinion, it's both. Okay. And it is a team effort, and everybody has to play this, in this scheme. They have to be in unison. They have to be on the same page. It's all about timing. And I'm just going to go over the, first off, I'm going to tell you about Tua, my evaluation thus far, 7 games into the season. And I said at the beginning of the season, we both talked about it, Rob, from a scale to 1 to 10, I said Tua needs to be a consistent 7
Right.
throughout the year. Well, thus far, he's gone well over that scale, and he's been playing at about an 8. Some games he's even played 9. He's been up there in a 9, in my opinion. Hey, this is not, this is just my scale, how I see it.
Right.
Just to get a reference for everybody how I'm seeing it. And he has been consistent. The games that people have said he's played bad, or like you were saying, some of the haters or some of the other folks out there to say, oh, he's played bad, he had a terrible game. No, he didn't have a terrible game, or he didn't have a bad game. In fact, the Philadelphia Eagles game, he had a good game. He played a good game with the exception of that bad decision in throw, which wasn't entirely on his fault. He had a man in his face. He had Jalen Carter just about ready to crack his head on the ground. So, yeah, he was off a little bit. It might have been a little short. Not a lot of quarterbacks wouldn't have not made that throw. So, yes, Tua did play a good game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And throughout the year, he's played really good.
So, Scotty has a question for you. What did you have the Dolphins, if you looked ahead, did you have the Dolphins at 5-2? He wants to know in the preseason, like when you made your predictions. He just wants to know
did I have the Dolphins 5-2 at this point? If I remember correctly, you
have us beating the Chargers.
I had him at 4-3.
All right,
I would have had him at 4-3. I would have had him losing the Chargers. I had him losing Buffalo, and I splitting with Buffalo, and they did lose the first game to Buffalo. And then I had him losing to I did have him losing to the Eagles. So I would say 4-3 is where I was.
So they're one game ahead of where you thought. But
yeah, they're one game ahead of where I thought, but I still stick with my 11-6 right now. I say the season they'll end up at 11-6. Yeah. Look, this team, and before I get into the Shanahan system,
I know, but I also want to get into some stuff too. So
yeah, sure.
You got me all fired up,
and I'm going to allow you to do that. Of course, I mean this is our show. This isn't my show. This is our show.
I know, just like our Dolphins Thursday.
But what I wanted to say was so Tua Tagovailoa has been playing really good. He really has. The thing is, he needs to consistently play at this level, or not even at the really good level, just at a 7, just at a good level. If he can play consistently throughout the year like this, I think we have a really good chance of being Super Bowl contenders. And I said this at the beginning of the year. Right. But here's the deal. I'm going to go over the Shanahan defense a little bit. I mean, offense a little bit, since we're talking about, is the Dolphins an optical illusion? Right. And to a certain degree, they are. And this is why I say that. And this is not a bad thing. They use a lot of misdirection. They do a lot of fancy, cute plays. They got some speedy receivers. They run a zone offense. And McDaniel has brought to this team, he's even incorporated, in my opinion, Mark Marks, a little bit of that West Coast offense. He's brought that in. So he's mixed that in with that. So basically, yes, what the Shanahan offense is specifically designed to confuse the defenses. There's a lot of motion. And if you notice, the teams that Miami lost to, Buffalo, Eagles, New England gave them a tough time. They didn't beat them because their offense don't have enough firepower. That's my opinion. But they played good. Okay, Miami only scored how many? 24 points? Was it 24 points against New England?
Yeah, 24.
Okay, there you go. So what I'm saying is, if the Shanahan offense plays against teams like Buffalo and Kansas City and Philadelphia, these teams have the personnel. They have the personnel. They have the discipline to stay in their lanes, play disciplined football and not buy in and get mesmerized by all the motion. Because that's there's a statement, and I wish I could find it, where McDaniel even talks about this. That is the whole objective, is to confuse the defenses with all the motions. And if you notice, specifically the Philadelphia game, when the Dolphins were moving in motion, nobody moved on that defense. Nobody. They didn't move where Tyreek went. You know what they did? They dictated what the offense was going to do. That was the key to the game, and that's the key to overcoming this Shanahan offense. Is the leader, which is Tua Tagovailoa. He's the operator of this offense. If you go attack Tua Tagovailoa or any quarterback that is in this type of system, Brock Purdy, you attack him. Except Brock Purdy is a little more innovative and can create plays and go off script a little more than Tua. He can. It's a fact. It's a fact.
Not last night he did it, but okay.
Okay, he didn't last night. Okay, he didn't last night, but for the most part, he can't. I'm not saying Tua can't.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying Tua can't. I'm saying he has done it, but it's not his forte. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles defense was dictating them. Tua, you're going to have to make the throw. Tua, you're going to have to run because we're stopping the run. And that's what they did. They stopped the run and they make to Tua Tagovailoa on a one read. Okay? Yeah. They put him out of that one read. They didn't give up that one read. They changed. The defense changed on post snap. They dictated what Tua was going to do. Did Tua play a good game? Yes. I'm not saying he didn't. Okay?
No one's saying you're saying that he didn't.
He didn't make the plays that he normally would make.
I'm going to get my say in eventually.
I am going to let you. I am going to let you. He didn't make the plays because they dictated what that offense was going to do. They didn't move and buy in to the circus. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, all the rants are fine. Hey, Ryan, there's a big supporter of Steve right there. Ryan Malloy in the house. Fins up to you, Ryan. And anyway, see, all I would say is back to that article about beating bad teams. That's what good teams do. They beat bad teams. Because in the years past, Dolphins would lose to bad teams and then be scraping for a playoff spot at the end of the year because we lost games that we were supposed to win. So that's a mark of a good team, beating the teams that you're supposed to beat. That's what New England did on their run of Super Bowl, when they were winning the AFC East every year, because other than the one game in Miami, they almost won every game that they're supposed to win. And that's what good teams do. So to me, that's a pat on the back to McDaniel to get his team ready to play against teams without a winning record. And we can debate Tua, whether Tua's a good guy. And I know you're not saying he's not the guy or he is the guy. But we can debate that. I don't care. He's a Miami Dolphin. He's our quarterback. I'm rooting for him. That's who I want. And is he good enough to win with this team? Yes, he's good enough to win with this team. So let's put it that way. If you want Dan Marino to come out of retirement and have he's not walking through the door, as the old saying, other than to say hi at the end of the game. He's not walking through the locker room ready to play the game. So let's just go with what we have. Tua's good enough to win in this league. Is he like Patrick Mahomes good? No, but is he as good as the other guys that win? Yes. So that's what I'm saying. But to me, it's not a negative that we don't beat, that we can't beat. Beating bad teams is what you're supposed to do. That's not a negative. That's a positive to me. So I don't like that narrative. They paint, they beat a bad team. That's what you want to do. You want to beat every team on your schedule. The good ones, the bad ones, the average ones. You want to win. So that's all I'm saying. Yes. Do you want to beat good teams? Yes. But we're only a couple, let's play a lot, but just a lot more football to be played. We got a lot of.
I agree with you.
I know you do. I'm just saying that the narrative that's out there right now is kind of silly. Hey, you got some people that say you're crazy, and you got some people that are 100%. So we got a mixed house on you, Steve.
Well, the people that call me crazy, that's fine. I've been called worse. I appreciate it that you joined us tonight.
I don't know what you're saying.
And I'm not.
I say that no one's not saying. I never said that, Mr. Fred. Never said that. I'm just saying that beating bad teams is not a bad thing. That's all I was trying to make in that whole my little rant. I never once said people are saying the Dolphins aren't good. I'll play back the tape. If I said it, it was by mistake, but I don't think I said that.
I don't think you said that, Rob. But what I'm saying, my point, Rob, and I agree with what you're saying. We're supposed to beat the bad teams. Yes, we're supposed to beat so the Dolphins made a step. Now we're beating the bad teams, and we're not losing to the bad teams. No. I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to buy that. I don't accept that. Okay. What I accept is we've got a talented roster. We're supposedly had the best roster in all of football, right? That's what everybody was saying at the beginning of the year. Okay. Oh my God. McDaniels.
I never heard that one.
Hold on. McDaniels is a genius. He's a guru, and I still believe he's a good play caller, and he has designed.
When you say everybody, name everybody. I heard a lot of naysayers out there.
Well, I mean everybody in general. Everybody in general.
I don't know about that.
A lot of folks have said that. We had the best roster in football. National media. We've said it on this channel. We've got the best roster in football in the NFL on paper, right? But okay, now we're beating the bad teams. Okay, big deal. Who cares about the freaking bad teams? I want to beat the good teams. I want to beat the playoff teams. I want to beat the teams that we're going to be in the playoffs with and the Super Bowl, not the goddamn bad teams that aren't even going to make it.
Okay, how about if we were 2-5 right now, but we beat the Bills? Okay, we beat the Bills, we beat the Eagles, but we're 2-5. Are you happy with that, Steve? No, so don't be ridiculous, Steve. You're going a little bit crazy that you don't care we beat the bad team. You got to beat all the teams on your schedule, Steve. So if we were 2-5, but both of those wins, came against the Bills and the Eagles, but we lost every other game, you would be okay with that, is what you just said, basically.
No, what I'm saying is Steve.
There you go.
No. What I'm saying is, yes, of course we want to beat the bad teams. We want to beat all the teams that we play against, right? But we're not. And you know what? In fact, we got the New England Patriots coming up this week, and I believe this is going to be somewhat of a trap game because we just came off a loss with the Eagles, and now we're going to go face the Kansas City Chiefs after the Patriots.
Must be family. How can he say it's okay to lose to all the bad teams? Oh my goodness, you guys, that's it. Oh man. But anyway, hey, Fred is like the guy that brings up fire.
Rob, it takes one crazy guy to know another one, right?
But hey, Fred's awesome. He comes over to Dolphins thirsty all the time too, so he's awesome.
Yeah, I know Fred.
Yeah. So
I mean, I know of him. I've heard of him on other.
We're Real Talk Fin Talk. Now we got Real Talk Wrestling in the house. So hey, Real Talk Wrestling, welcome to the show. So he was in here last week too. So that's all good. No, I know I'm just busting your chops. I know your son's in here, Ryan. So a big fins up to him and Duke and some other Ray Finko and Scotty. I already taught Freddie, of course. Oh yeah. Hooked up Joe. All you guys, this makes it fun. Steve can have his rants in front of all you, and it's all good, and it's all fun, and it's all. So, and Rob, I get my rants once in a while too.
No, you get your rants in more than just a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Rob, let me get your insight on this game coming up, since we have the Patriots coming up. How do you feel about the Dolphins playing against the Patriots this week coming up?
Yeah, real quick. Duke, you are 100% white. You're 100% white, right? Going against the Philadelphia Eagles and basically 3 backup offensive linemen against the best defensive line, one of the best defensive lines in football. But that was a tough ask. Not making excuses, but that's tough, man. When you had to throw Cotton in there early in the game, and you already have Lamb starting out there, and you already got Eichenberg starting out there. That was a rough ask. So, definitely. But excuses are excuses. Injuries happen to every team. But, man, 3 along the offensive line, that's really dealt a blow to our offensive line. Because our offensive line weren't elite, but they were playing decent at the start of the season. But we're starting to lose too many bodies up front for sure.
Yeah, and that's why in the article that I wrote, I was talking about why I disagree or I don't like Chris Grier. Thank you, Chris Grier, for Lester Cotton, for Liam Eichenberg. Liam Eichenberg is probably the worst NFL center, guard, tackle there is in all of football. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. He belongs in the XFL. I have no clue why he's on this team. Lester Cotton, yes, it's not fair to Lester Cotton to throw him in there, but hey, he needs to step up, right? Hey, he's part of the team. Chris Gura said, don't worry about this offensive line. We're more worried about it than he is. But guess what? When we play against the good teams, this offensive line cracks and falls apart. It
Well, a
crumbles.
lot of that to the lack of depth, but unfortunately,
That's what I'm
because
saying. That's my point. Yeah, that's my
yeah,
point.
it's a lack of depth. Because if our starters were there, who knows? But they're not because of injuries. And Armstead, you sign knowing is going to be an injury-prone player. Unfortunately, he's a baller when he's out there, but unfortunately, he misses all the time. Your son Ryan brings up a great point, but one of those points will be proven very soon, either to be true or false, because Kansas City will be played on more or less a neutral field over in Germany. So we will get that answer in a couple weeks. But like you say, I don't want to get lost track. You asked me what my thoughts are about New England. I say it's going to be a division game. Division games are always tough. Just ask Buffalo what happened against the Jets and the Patriots this year when they went.
Absolutely.
Yes, they beat us, but both the Jets and the Patriots, and the Jets are no one to sleep on. We're all passing up the Jets, but they're sitting there at 3-3, and they could still take this division if you're not careful. So you got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. It's my whole narrative, or I think that's kind of overlooked, that you are supposed to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And as redundant as that sounds. But no, you're right, Brian. We will find out in a few weeks, 2 weeks really. But I'm a game by game guy. So let's beat New England, and then let's see what we do against Kansas City on somewhat a neutral field in Germany. So that will be a question. Baltimore, we're not going to know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now the New England game coming up. Did you
Frederick Dunlop is awesome. He's super. Frederick Dunlop, number one, man. He's the best. I just want him to give me a kudos. Frederick Dunlop for president of the Bass Fishing Association. He sounds like a fellow fisherman to me.
There you go. So
anyway,
did you have any more comments or anything else you wanted to add to the New England game?
No, I mean, just it's going to be a tough game. I'm going to be there, and
I get
to see. Yeah, I'm going to be there. So hopefully, I get to see. It's so hard to see people before the game, though, because I just get there, and I always park on the opposite side where all of these. Thank you, Fred. See, I knew I could get him to
there
agree.
You go. There you go.
But it's all good, man. I don't know if we still got Scotty in the house, but you may have ran Scotty out. Scotty, if you're in here, give Steve a big thumbs up.
I think Scotty went to go do his research. But anyway, what I wanted to say was about the New England game. I do feel it's kind of a trap game. We just came off a loss with the Philadelphia Eagles, and then we got Kansas City. Right after New England game.
But now, coming off a loss, do you think that would help make it not a trap game? Is what I would think. If we had beat the Eagles,
I don't know. I think what it is, and I'm going to say this, and I know folks are not going to like this, but the Miami Dolphins sometimes tend to get a big head. Their defense, they're not their defense, but their whole team seems to get a big head. They go into the games and thinking like they did in the Buffalo game. Why are we the underdogs after they came off that big win with the Denver Broncos? But going into the New England game, they played New England, excuse me, and it was up in Foxborough, so it was a tough game. It was a division battle. Bill Belichick, again, he's going to have this defense prepped and ready to play, and I'm sure he's seen the Philadelphia Eagles film. He's seen the Buffalo film, and in fact, he's the one that got the ball rolling up there in New England. And when our offense kind of sputtered a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of folks saw that, and a lot of teams, saw the film on that, and they said, "Hey, let's try this, let's try that." Now, do the New England Patriots have the personnel? And remember, I've talked about this before. A lot of times, I don't care if it's a bad team, and I don't care if it's a good team, a good playoff team.
Right.
All right. It's all matchups. It's all about the matchups, and it's about the players. It's about the personnel, how they match up. And I do not believe that the New England Patriots have I think they can play this offense well. They can utilize a lot of the tactics in that Buffalo used and Philadelphia used, but they don't have a front seven like Buffalo. They don't have a front seven like the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's the key is they can try, but I don't think they have the personnel and I think we have the better matchups in this game. And
I hope you're right, Steve.
And we have the advantage. We're home.
Yeah.
And what's our record in home? I mean, we're like what, 15-1 at home right now?
Yeah, right? Like 15-2, some crazy record. Like
some crazy record. So we got
and then this year we haven't lost at home. And
here's another thing. Here's another thing, Rob. You're going to be at the game.
Yep, there you go, man. Exactly. I'm going to be there. Good luck again.
There you go.
I was at the Denver game and I was at the Panthers game. So combined, they've scored 112 points when I've been at the game, in 2 games. So it should be a good game. And our offense, I think, is better at home, not only because of the weather, because of the sound and everything. And we're able to do more motions. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that. But Tyreek Hill said on his podcast that sometimes they can't hear as well on the road. And so he can't go up the field as quick because he knows how he can hear Tua's cadence at home and he knows when to cut up the field and it's not make it an illegal procedure. So little things like that make a big difference at home. And no, Mr. Ray Finkel, I have not heard any rumor trades of anyone in the room. I know Steve has not because me and him both talked about
No,
that.
I haven't heard of anything.
But if anyone's heard any legitimate rumors, let me know. I would love to know that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, overall, Steve, like I said, man, it's always good to see ranting Steve. I tease you a lot, but I actually like ranting Steve. Even though I can't get my word. Only thing is I can't get my word. And with my attention deficit disorder, then I forget what I wanted to counter you with. So, but it's all good.
I know a lot of folks probably say, this guy's crazy, man. He's going to have a heart attack. I'm not really mad, guys. I get very emotional when it comes to my Miami Dolphins. I've been following for 51 years.
I think we all do in here.
51 years. But anyway.
Hey, Holland Duke is in concussion protocol. That's all we know. We don't know any more than that, but he did self-report symptoms this Monday morning after the getting back from the game, and that's where we stand. But no update. He didn't, tomorrow maybe in the press conference we should know on McDaniel's midweek press conference.
Yeah, and I haven't even seen an injury report out yet. But anyway, I wanted to go over these stats real quick, Rob, before we close the show tonight. And this is a positive on the Miami Dolphins defense. They have 24 sacks and they have 54 quarterback hits, which I believe is number 1 in the league.
I know it's number 1 going into last week. I haven't checked.
I believe they're still number 1 in the league. So I wanted to go over the Patriots defense and then the Dolphins real quick. Bear with me, guys. Patriots defense. And they're number 10, their defense and total defense. Miami's 20. They're 12 in pass defense. Miami's 19. They're 15 in rush defense. Miami's 20. They're 24th in scoring defense. They allow 25.3 points a game. Miami Dolphins defense allows 26.26. In the red zone defense for the Patriots, they're number 7 in the red zone. So they tighten up in the red zone, and Miami's 26th. And now for the offensive stats real quick, the Pats, their total offense is 25. And of course, we know Miami is 1. They're 1 in all categories for the most part. But so let's go over New England. 25th. Passing offense, they're 21st. Rushing, they're 27th. And scoring, they're 31st in scoring. So they average 14 points a game. 14 points a game. Their offense. And of course, Miami's averaging, it dropped a little bit, but not much. 34 points a game. In the red zone.
Man.
Actually, New England's not bad in the red zone. They're number 4. And of course, Miami's number 1. So those are the stats. I still feel that Miami has the advantage. They're playing at home. Their offense does not match up against our offense and even our defense. I think the way that our defense played, I know they at the end of the game is what matters. In the Philadelphia Eagles, they had 31 points in the end of the game. That's what counts, right?
Right.
But Miami's defense did step up to the plate and they played pretty solid for the most part. It was kind of deceiving because Philadelphia's not an explosive team, right? They're not throwing 50, 60-yard bombs for the most part, like Miami.
Right.
They easily drive the ball down there like they did on us, and they weren't getting big runs. I mean, Miami was stopping the run, but they were still making that 2 and 3 yard runs and then a 5-yard pass and a 20. They were making plays. They were making plays when they had to. And that's what good teams do, And that's the way Philadelphia plays their football. They're not pretty. They're going to ground and pound you. And Jalen Hurts is the same way. He can run and he can throw the ball. So that's how they beat us. But this week, I believe the Miami Dolphins are going to win this game. And I know you and I I'll have a show on the Dolphins Thirsty Network Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
I'll have a pregame show. I know you won't be there, Rob, because you will be at the game.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I'm looking forward to it. Sorry, my internet got wonky a couple times. I'm going to go reset the router again. Well, I think I hear my son. He's playing with his friend on the PlayStation. So I think he's stealing my Wi-Fi. I'm going to tell him, listen here, youngster. Don't go be playing when there's Dolphin talk to be had.
Hey, Rob, you want to go ahead and answer that question before we go?
I do. I think he could be a bigger impact. And I do want to give him kudos before I forget. He's been I know he hasn't broken one for a touchdown or anything like that.
Right.
But he's been a solid returner, much better than what we've had in recent past. Since
I agree.
Grant and some of those guys. But in the past couple of years, he's been our best. He's reliable back there. And I think he could be a bigger impact as moving forward, especially with Craycraft being out and and we haven't seen anything of Claypool. He was active the other night, but they didn't throw him a ball.
Easy E.
Yeah, and Easy E's out. So, yeah, I think he could be a factor, and I hope he will, because that's my one knock sometimes on Tua, with understanding Tua why, because if I was throwing to Mark Duper and Mark Clayton, I would want to throw to them too, like Dan Marino and they used to do. But sometimes I think he gets a little too dependent on Tyreek Hill. And I know as part of getting Tyreek Hill 2,000 yards, but I can care less about. I want wins. I could not care less. I always forget. If I say I could care less, I could not care less about whether or not Hill gets 2,000. I just want to win. I want a playoff win. My standards lower than your. I know everyone wants a Super Bowl, but only one team at the end of the day. Hey, but to get to the Super Bowl, you need at least one playoff win. Then you need another, and then depends where you're seated. You may need a third playoff win if you're not the number one seed. So, to me, that's what I want. I just want a good football team. I try not to take it too serious, but it's hard when you root for them because it's outside of our control. Because that's what I said. Mike McDaniel, during his press conference, when they asked him about Hard Knocks, the Miami Dolphins are going to be on Hard Knocks, just in case you guys hadn't heard. It's going to come soon, right? In the next couple of weeks, they're going to be the in-season Hard Knocks. And they asked him, he said it was not a team decision. Then he kind of touched his face, like I don't think, and his body started moving from side to side. So I don't really think he wants that. I don't think he wants the HBO just from the way he was sounding, but he said it's not something I can control. But it hit home with me because it's like something my wife will always say, why are you worried about something that you can't control when I'm worried about it? And that's how we all are as fans, though.
Absolutely.
Because I don't worry about things I can't control. The NFL basically said they were going to do Hard Knocks on the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins and them talk. I'm sure Ross doesn't mind because it's free publicity for his franchise. But, I don't think the team, maybe the players like it, but I don't think McDaniel and Greer were too much on board with it, but they probably just got overruled because, they're secretive. To them, that's like nuclear secrets briefcase. They don't want anything getting out that they might do. but they would say will always be after the fact. So nothing that the team doesn't want out there will not be out there. So I just hope it doesn't become a distraction. I know that'd be a whole other episode. We can talk tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on Dolphin Thursday about rather HBO. I've never watched. Full disclosure, I've never watched Hard Knocks in my life. Not even when the Dolphins were on it because I didn't have HBO back then. Now it's part of my HOA. I get HBO, so I'm probably for the first time ever might tune in to see what this Hard Knocks is all about that I've heard people talk about over all the years. But I just hope. Thank you, Frederick. Thank you. So, but anyway, so what do you think, Steve? I know it's your show, but I'm going to throw you a question. Do you think Hard Knocks is a distraction or a good thing?
I don't think it's going to be a distraction. I enjoy watching Hard Knocks. I've watched some of the Hard Knocks over the years, not recent, but now that the Miami Dolphins are going to be on Hard Knocks, I'll probably watch it.
I would finally take advantage of my HBO. I always say, man, I'd rather, because I never really watch HBO, but I finally get advantage of having HBO as part of the requirement of the HOA. So I'll get my use out of it.
Yeah. But I think the thing is that a lot. I've heard some Dolphins say, "Oh, we don't want to get jinxed like they jinxed the Cardinals that year and all that." But
I don't believe in the jinx.
Yeah, I don't
wonder if it's a distraction.
No, I don't think it's a jinx, and I don't think it's a distraction. I really don't. I kind of looking forward to it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay. No. As a fan, I'm looking forward to seeing some of our. We got some personalities on our team. Like Tyreek Hill's a personality, and we got some other guys that are characters.
Yeah.
So
Christian Wilkins.
Christian Wilkins. Tua, I'd be interested to see how Tua, because he's come out of his shell a lot.
He has.
But I still don't think, because they offered him that show quarterback, that Mahomes and Kirk Cousins and the other guy, Mariota. Man, It's not a show unless you and I kill a guy's name. Whatever.
Mariota. I don't know.
There you go.
Whatever.
So anyway, Tua was offered that last spot, and he said no, which I'm happy because then it would have come during the concussion time. But now he has no choice, so he's going to have to let cameras in his life.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how Tua responds to that.
Yeah, but Rob, it's not going to get too much of in his personal life. It's more of at the facilities, at the on the football field. So I don't think it's going to get too like the quarterback show is, where it gets into guys' personal life and the home.
I don't think it'd be that bad.
No, it's not going to be that.
All right. See, I've never watched not 1 minute, like you say, other than I've seen clips about the Dolphins one. Like, remember when they had the cornerback and he was traded and he goes, "Oh, I got to call my grandma." His name's escaping me, but that cornerback. So I remember seeing that clip over and over again.
Right.
And then talking, and then Jeff Ireland talking about acorns and, "Oh, we need to gather some acorns," meaning players. And so some stupid clips that just made the rounds, Man, what was the name of that cornerback? Maybe someone in.
Oh, man, I can't remember. I really
pretty
can't.
good. And we drafted him, I think, a first-round drafted, but then we traded him to the Colts. I remember him. I just can't think of the guy's name.
Vernon Davis? Or Davis? Was it Davis?
Well, not yet Davis, but that's like the other Davis. But yeah, it was Davis, man. Yes.
It's not Vernon Davis. It was somebody else Davis.
Yeah, no, it is. I know, man, but I know exactly. No, it wasn't Sean Smith.
It wasn't Sean Smith. It was Davis, I believe.
Yeah, but what's his first? Oh, my God.
I can't remember his first name. Yeah.
I don't even want to go Google. It will come to me eventually. But yeah, he's the one that's saying, "Oh, I have to call my grandma," when they called and told me, they sat him down. So that's it. That's all I know from HBO Hard Knocks. I know. Vontae Davis. Thank you, Duke. There you go. That's exactly.
Thank you, Duke. Thank you. Appreciate it.
A big fins up to you, Duke. And speaking of fins up, guys, if you have not already done so, please give us a fins up, which we call a thumbs up here on the tube and Facebook and all that good stuff. You guys all rock. And yes, Steve, me and Steve, we teach each other all the time, man, because like he sent me something today and I thought it was going to be big news. And like, oh, please, I wanted big news. I thought Steve was sending me like some breaking good Dolphins coverage. But hey, thank you. Yep, there. Now your son chimed in too. Yes, Ryan, you are correct. It was Vontae Davis. But that's it. That's my HBO memories because of that just made the rounds. So I have to call my grandma and they said, well, we got to talk about this trade, but I got to call my grand. So that's I heard over and over, but that's my full extent of HBO Hard Knocks. So it's going to be fun this year to see it. I just hope it doesn't become a distraction. But like you say, there's so many distractions in these guys' life. It's just what's one more camera in their face.
Yeah. Let me say this one thing. Ryan, I appreciate you for joining tonight. Say hello to the grandkids. I know they're sick. They were home from school today. I hope they get better well. Tell them that I love them. And I appreciate you for joining us. And I appreciate everyone that joined us tonight that's in the chat. I appreciate you all. Please hit that like button. And we couldn't do this show without you. Rob, thank you again. I couldn't do this show without you either.
You're awesome, Steve.
It wouldn't be as fun without you. So I appreciate
it. Wouldn't be as fun without your rants and my rants. And
absolutely.
Whatever, but you just got so on the road today. I was like, I know I'm going to forget half the stuff I want to counter with, but you know, I'm like, no. But hey,
I had some ammo today. I had some ammo today, buddy.
Hey, no, it is. And like your disclaimer at the beginning of the show, we may not always agree on how things are in Dolphin land.
Absolutely.
But we all agree we want the Dolphins to win and that we all love the Aqua and Orange. And at the end of the day, we just want to see them, you know, our quarterback, whoever the quarterback is holding that little trophy that you see Don Sula on the middle of our screen. We want our quarterback lifting that Lombardi trophy eventually over his head. You know,
that's the goal. That's the goal.
That's it, man. That's all we want. Hey, Anthony. I'm going to let him get his question in because better late than never. Steve, do you want the Dolphins to make a trade that is affordable at linebacker or safety so that you can?
Man, I think our need right now, we really need defensive linemen. We don't have a lot of depth there. I guess linebacker and safety are definitely important needs because of the injuries we've had. Look, if we could get Patrick Surtain, I would get him. I would get him and say bye-bye to Xavier Howard. That's just my opinion.
Well, unfortunately, Xavier Howard, you would have to have someone on trade because of cap hits. But
that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I know that's where you would almost have to ask Denver to take on his hit or whatever, and they won't do that because they're getting rid of talent. You know? So, But anyway, no, it's great. To me, I'm worried about the offensive line more than almost any other thing, man.
Yeah, offensive line too, for sure. I mean, I know folks are saying, oh, the Dolphins, you know, they got a great team and this. But we've got a lot of hole, and not just the Dolphins. Other teams have them too. I get it. But I'm talking about specifically the Dolphins. They have holes at offensive line. They have holes at defensive line. They have holes, big holes at linebacker, and they have holes at safety.
And with that said, I know it's almost time to go, but like when Connor Williams comes back, yes, that's going to help, and hopefully he stays healthy. But are we really going to count on when Armstead comes back that he's going to stay healthy for the whole season? I mean,
can't count on it.
You can't count on it, you know, and Wynn's going to be out. You know, hopefully he was playing well. I mean, he wasn't all pro elite, but he was playing.
He was playing solid. He was playing solid.
Average or above average, he was playing.
Yeah,
and
that's
all we want. And then he got hurt. So then you bring Cotton in there, but it just shows that, you know, our depth is razor thin because instead of having Eichenberg there, you had to move Eichenberg over to be the backup center, who he's never been a center in this whole. So it's just really razor thin along the offensive line. But
all right, Rob, let's call it a night, brother. We can.
Wait, don't call your Dolphins number one yet. I gotta find the closeout video. Or you
absolutely. I know you and I could talk forever, but
I know we could, man.
All good things got to come to an end. Again, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate you. We'll see you again next week, same time, same bat channel, and remember. Dolphins number one, baby!
Dolphins number one!